Hi, and welcome to my podcast, where the title is a question. What's your business really worth? This is a critical time in history. The changes coming and technology alone are going to change values dramatically. What worked yesterday is not going to work tomorrow. Business sellers can only get the highest price for their businesses if they or someone they hire knows what to do. And that's what's all going to change in real time coming up. So in this podcast, I'm going to teach small business selling and valuation strategies, but not just old tried and true strategies, but strategies that are on the cutting edge of these changes that are coming in the small business selling marketplace. My podcast is for those who sell small businesses and their advisors. Business brokers, yes, but also people who want to sell their own businesses themselves without a broker. In addition, this will be useful information for lawyers, estate planners, CPAs, or even family members of small business owners. I will particularly focus on the difficult decision of whether or not to involve a broker. And if you decide you need a broker, which one to choose. I'm available in Colorado. With only a few exceptions, though, I don't sell businesses from other states. So I'm going to discuss all the detailed steps that I use to help my sellers get their highest and best price that I use in Colorado. And you will see that while there are no secret strategies, there are some pretty clever ideas that you will get from me, and they won't just apply to Colorado. I will tell you some surprising behind-the-scenes facts and statistics, in fact, that will influence your choices about the decisions you make to sell your business or help the person you serve as an advisor to sell their business. And in this podcast, I'm going to start perhaps with the most shocking facts of all. But hold on just a minute. That's still a few minutes away, even in this podcast. First, you need to know who I am. I'm Glen Cooper. I'm a business broker in Denver. I've been helping people buy, sell, and value small businesses for nearly 50 years. I've also written the only book on the subject, new in 2025. In this podcast, I'm going to tell you all of my secrets, just as I do in my book. But if you stay with me, I will also be available to you personally, just a phone call away. You should know that I'm known for my blunt honesty. This podcast has no sponsor. I'm paying for it myself because I'm old enough to care more about giving you straight answers than I am in selling you my services or any businesses that I have listed. I hope by doing this podcast to convince you that I am a straight shooter, tell it like it is person. My reputation is not the only thing I'm selling here, of course. I'm also hoping that you'll buy the book that I've written. And if you or someone you know is selling their business in Colorado, I hope you'll recommend that they put me on the list of possible brokers they call. And I thank you for that. As strange as it seems to be said about any one broker, I'm probably the national expert on this topic. My book really is the only book on the subject and the only current book. And nobody else in the whole world that I even know has been selling small businesses as long as I have. Yeah, that makes me old, but I'm still learning every day I do this work. I also love what I do as a business broker and coach for business brokers. Am I too old? I certainly don't think so. My new book is called Glen Cooper on Business Brokerage. What Works and What Doesn't is the subtitle. In this book, I write about exactly how I sell small businesses for my seller clients and have since 1979. But for those of you who don't have time for my podcast, you could just buy my book. In the book's 36 chapters, I describe the 5 major challenges that brokers face in selling small businesses. These challenges that I write about, however, are universal to anyone selling a business. So no matter what your role is in the process, my book addresses it. And even if you choose not to hire a business broker, that is still addressed in my book. It's a large book, 300 pages, 125,000 words, and it's even a heavy lift at 2 pounds because it's 8.5 by 11 inches. It's not a promotional puff piece, but a how-to book. It describes in great detail all of the steps for everything I do. And what I do in Colorado really isn't different from what business brokers do nearly everywhere, at least in the United States. It is done differently in other countries. And the way you can buy it for just $5 is at the end of this podcast. So don't let me forget to tell you about that. I'll also give you my personal cell phone number, 303-919-2694. But I have a requirement on my phone calls. You'll need to leave a message to get a call back. I get so many calls that I usually don't answer numbers I don't recognize. So to get a call back, you have to leave a voicemail. Got it? Leave a voicemail and you will get a response from me. Also, I'm on U.S. Mountain Time in Denver. Note that. Please don't call me in the middle of the night. Call me if you can between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Now, I've been a business broker in Maine, New Hampshire, and now Colorado since 1979. I returned to my home state of Colorado in 2010 and now own Colorado Business Brokers in Denver. I help sellers price and sell their small businesses, as all brokers do. My clients are owners who want to sell their firm so that it remains in place, however, to another owner-operator like themselves. Prices of firms I sell typically range from a low of $300,000 up to $15 million. That means I don't sell itty-bitty businesses, and I'm not an investment banker selling really big firms. I sell what is known as Main Street businesses and lower middle market firms. I'm not selling businesses that are too big for one owner to run. And that's really the more relevant definition of a small business. It's a business that can be run by just one person as its owner. And that's what I sell. Finally, my email is glenn@mycoloradobusinessbrokers.com. And yes, it has a my on the front end of it because while I own the Colorado Business Brokers trade name in Colorado, I don't own the coloradobusinessbrokers.com URL. That name, Colorado Business Brokers, has been fought over for 40 years. So I had to make mine mycoloradobusinessbrokers.com. A competitor of mine has coloradobusinessbrokers.com, uses it as a link to his website, and I understand that a scam artist has both of our emails with just broker on the end. So if you use my email, be sure it is glenn@mycoloradobusinessbrokers.com with an S on the end. In this podcast, I'm going to tell you what no one else will. Now, wait, hold on. What did I just say? I said, in this podcast, I'm going to tell you what no one else will. So what does that even mean? Well, to figure out what your business is really worth, you need to hear the truth about many things that give you access to that value. Then to get paid what your business is really worth requires you to learn many steps, starting with learning what not to do first. This is not the time to rush into the sales process. Just hire a business broker and go forward. Nor should you ever just start the process yourself without thinking it through. Selling any business is complicated and usually very hard work. If you think it's easy, that's actually the first danger sign that you are about to screw it up. So don't do that. Almost everyone paints a rosy picture about how great it is to own a small business and how selling it is something they can help you with. And starting with business brokers, almost everyone will only tell you what they think you want to hear. Am I right? But if you start your journey to sell your small business without knowing what I'm going to tell you, you won't get the best price and terms for your business. You may even make every mistake in the book. Did I say book? Yes, I don't just list the things you should do in my book, but the mistakes you should avoid. There's almost no place other than in my book that you can get accurate and essentially free advice about finding out how the small business sales process works and what your small business is really worth. Almost everyone exaggerates to serve their own interests. Now, there are some other sources of information on how to successfully start and run a small business. Lots of books on podcasts on that subject. But when it comes to solid advice on how to value and sell your small business, free advice is almost always the wrong advice in someone's sales pitch. Very few folks have the experience in this arena that I have, and I want you to start this process fully aware of that and have some understanding of why that is. So in this podcast, with my 5 decades of selling small businesses, I promise to tell you the truth about all of it, the good, but also the bad and the ugly. So let's finish today's podcast with some facts for you to know and think about, okay? Let's talk about 3 market facts to start here today. And unfortunately, they are ugly. And I call them 3 facts nobody wants to tell you. Fact number 1, most small businesses just can't be sold. That's right. I said most small businesses simply can't be sold at all. They're not saleable. Now, in future podcasts, I'll tell you why that is. But for right now, let's just go on to fact number 2. Fact number 2, most business brokers only sell 20% of the businesses they list. That's right. Even when you list with a big franchise with multiple offices across the country, most of their brokers only have a 20% shot of getting it sold. Again, something I will explain in future podcasts. Fact number 3, the average business broker quits after just 3 years. Why is that? Well, that one fact I can explain right now. It's because most businesses can't be sold, and new brokers can't figure that out fast enough. So when they see that they're only selling 20%, they quit. Now, let me clarify something, though, before I go on. I'm not saying that business brokers aren't smart enough. They are. I know. I was a founding member of the IBBA as president and was president of the local chapter here in Colorado for a long time. But my point is that it takes at least 3 years to learn the ins and outs of business brokerage. So when you're choosing a business broker, keep that in mind. You need an experienced broker. Nor is it always the fault of brokers that so few of their listings sell. Many business owners wait too long to sell, and they fail while they're being sold. This last year alone, our practice here in Colorado, we had that happen to us. 3 of our listings failed during our sales process. Even after we had a buyer, one business lost its 3 key employees all at once, and so it didn't sell. Another firm's sales and profits unexpectedly took a nosedive after we listed it. The owner appeared to give up. And a third was a manufacturer of high-tech scientific research equipment, which was dependent upon federal science funding, and we all know what happened to that at the beginning of the Trump administration. So please don't take those facts that I gave you as a condemnation of my fellow business brokers. It is a very unpredictable world out there. Just be aware of the risks of hiring inexperience. So why am I doing this podcast? Am I not also selling something? Did I not say that almost nobody seems to tell you the truth when they're delivering a sales pitch? So I want to be clear about what I am selling. As I said already, I'm selling my reputation as an honest broker. I live in Colorado and specialize in just Colorado business sales. And I do have businesses that I list, and I do occasionally coach business brokers, and I do charge commissions to sell businesses, and I do charge fees for coaching business brokers. But in this podcast, I do not feature these services. Yes, the business selling market realities, those facts I just told you, also apply to me. So I'm just not hiding anything. Perhaps knowing some of my personal story will help you understand my motives. You're looking now at a photograph of me when I think I was 16 years old. I think it's a high school graduation photo. And when I was a teenager, I wanted to be rich, famous, and powerful. But as I have grown older and wiser, somehow I've managed to realize how truly fortunate I am to be living the life I'm living, even though I am neither rich and famous, nor am I powerful in the way that most people would think. My life did involve a very unhappy childhood. Dad left when I was 5, and my mom and dad divorced when I was 13. I had a very troubled teenage period, resulting in a total personal crash for me. And I also had several early career failures before I got into selling businesses. And I've had several near career failures after I got into selling businesses. But as a business broker, I've had many bad years. And from my teenage period to my adulthood, though, I had lots of counseling. And then from my late 30s to my early 60s, I was a lay minister in the Catholic Church. That early life counseling that I got as a teenager and my learned faith that I got from my church in adulthood are the 2 main things that have kept me whole. The recession of 2009 nearly killed my business brokerage firm. That was exactly when, as some of you already know, my wife filed for divorce and I was hemorrhaging cash. I sold Maine Business Brokers in 2010 for a whopping $45,000. And that was after 31 years becoming the dominant brokerage firm in Maine. In 2007, I had been offered $500,000 for my company, but by 2010, it wasn't worth the replacement cost of the furniture. In 2011, I actually had to file for personal bankruptcy, and that's when I moved back to my original home state of Colorado. You see, at age 60 during the 2009 recession, my wife, business partner, and life partner of 30 years, my first wife, Barbara, came down with Alzheimer's. Now, nobody, not even her doctors, recognized that it was Alzheimer's until 2 years after she asked for and I gave her a divorce in 2010. Then in 2014, she chose assisted suicide, and by then she was institutionalized and her Alzheimer's had taken away her ability to walk and talk. On March 8th, 2014, our daughter-in-law called me just 90 minutes before Barbara was given the final shot of morphine that killed her. My wife could no longer speak, but my daughter-in-law told me that Barbara wanted the last voice she heard to be mine. That one call was probably the worst moment in my life. Since I started in business brokerage, I've experienced 5 recessions, but nothing prepares you for a call like that. For at least 5 years after that happened, I couldn't even discuss it without crying. Today, higher small business lending rates and all of the world crisis that are swirling around us have slowed business sales once again. Not as bad as the recession, but pretty bad. One is left wondering what's next, and then you realize, oh yeah, artificial intelligence is next. Because I have remained, however, an active business broker and am now in my 47th year, I am indeed not rich or famous or powerful as in my youthful vision, but I am rich in wisdom, and my good reputation is all the fame I need, and my power is in my faith. And as I will tell you in some future podcast, I am now happily married again. God works in mysterious ways. Unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, as I approach 50 years in business brokerage and I'm coming up on 80 years in life, I still have to make a living. I am fortunate to have the skills and talents to do it legitimately. I can tell prospective clients the truth and still get hired. And even though bad things still happen to me, I know that I'm extraordinarily lucky, it's hard to say that, to live the life I do and to get to talk to people like those of you listening now. Starting in my next podcast, I'm going to go through my book chapter by chapter and tell you all my secrets about what's worked for me and what hasn't. I'm also going to tell you what I think is next on the horizon, so please tune in. Oh, yes, and one last secret I didn't forget. My big 4-color printed book lists on Amazon for $79.95. Hell, it should. It cost me $40 to print it. But when an author requests it, the Kindle version can be turned into a PDF. And of course, I did request it. So if you buy the $5 Kindle version, you can convert it to a PDF. And you might want to know that. I have a lot more to tell you. So please stay tuned next time in podcast number 2. And I thank you for listening.